Well, like Spider-Man said from his Uncle Ben in the movies, and of course, I guess the comic books too, with great power comes great responsibility. But also, like other people have remarked, you done messed up. And that's also, that's the PG version. But this is directed at Samsung and their decision to play funny games with the game optimization service, also known as GOS. It got them into hot water. It also prompted an apology to customers at the recent shareholders meeting because it seems to have negatively impacted their bottom line. So much so that over in South Korea, they've had to drop the price some more, and they've seen a drop off in sales. Now, they're trying to say that it may not necessarily be because of that, but they did say that they had, I think, historic initial sales, which I actually called. I talked about this, and I said that initial sales are going to be really high, particularly with this guy right here, the S22 Ultra. Why? Because there was pent-up demand from the Note, and by design, that's what this market was geared at. So you know that the people that love their S Pen, having not had a fix since the Note 20 Ultra, we're going to jump on this. So I fully expected that in the beginning, especially with all those trade-in offers. It's not like, okay, whenever you set this thing up and you're like, okay, you can trade in multiple devices, we'll give you extra stuff, we'll give you all this trade-in credit, we'll give you the spending bucks so you can get stuff in our store, and we'll also issue it to you in a rebate if you don't spend it. Come trade in your phones and get this one and pay not very much. Okay, yeah, I think the writing was probably on the wall that they were set up good for initial sales, especially with the pre-orders. It was something that I don't think was unforeseeable, but then you have that decline, and there's always a decline right after the big jump in sales at the beginning because, well, quite honestly, most of the people bought it when they got the good deal. So if they didn't buy it when they could get the good deal, why would they be so excited to buy it as soon as the deals are gone? But also, they created a problem. And I think this is something that does impact consumers when they see that the funny business and the strings from the purse holder still affecting how your device performs. And that whole game optimization service, I think, was a big overreach. And if you're not familiar with that scandal, basically what was happening is the phone was being throttled by this game optimization service, and it was targeting regular apps, it was targeting games. But typically, when you have things that are throttled on your phone, it gets throttled because it's overheating, it's using too many resources, it's drawing too much power. There's just a lot of different reasons why, and you don't want the processor to overheat. You don't want to put too much of a stress or load on these components because it can damage them and wear them down over time. So also it can affect the gameplay experience because when you have the throttling going back and forth, you have these spikes, it can cause frame drops, all sorts of things. So what they decided to do, here's the funny business part too. It was designed so that it wouldn't be caught by Geekbench. So Geekbench permabanned them. They said, okay, since we have found this to be what we call benchmark manipulation, meaning that the game optimization service did not touch the apps and the features and services that are used for benchmarking. So if you ran a benchmark on it, it would give you a score that wouldn't show up. So it's like basically saying, all right, I think a lot of people are familiar with this by now, but it's kind of like having an economy mode on your sports car. So even on like my Supra, it's in the economy mode when you get in it, where it shifts a lot lower and it goes through the gears a lot faster, so it can hurry up and get to a higher gear so that it doesn't use as much power, not as many RPMs. It doesn't want you to be running in sport mode. It doesn't want you to be running at 100% all the time. So what they do with the phone is there's already the power management options, which you can use on optimize, or you can have it on full speed. And that's something you can control. And then they have this game optimization service where it came in and automatically throttled stuff, especially games, straight out of the gate. Not even having time to play it, no time for the phone to warm up, just instantly, because it's a game, it would be markered and throttled. And this applied even to like the user interface, that game, the app store, lots of different stuff. So they got caught. They ended up issuing apologies, but I think it was a little too late, because once people found out about the shenanigans, it ultimately ended up, seems like it's impacting sales. And I'm sure this will trickle over more to North America. Honestly, though, I think that in South Korea, I think it's a bigger issue than it is here. One, Samsung is from there, their own independent community there, very honor-driven, a lot of stuff there. Not saying that people here in the United States and elsewhere aren't, but I think a lot of people over here just didn't care so much. So I think over in South Korea, maybe people were slighted more by Samsung, and they see this as very disrespectful, and it's impacting sales. So they've lowered the price over there. They are offering more incentives at the carriers to try and move them But I do think it's a multi-pronged thing. Of course, the global spend down, inflation's up, materials are still hard to get. You've got the chaos going on over, in certain countries. I don't want to talk about it and get my video demonetized or pulled down. But, current events around the world are not good. So people are not really in the market, I think, to go out there and spend $7.99, $9.99, $11.99 to get one of these new phones. And of course, I know elsewhere outside the United States, they can cost a lot more money. So there is that factor. Also, there's this problem that, people really aren't happy with how Samsung handled this. They tried to manipulate the usage of people's phones to make it seem like it was getting more battery, having less heat issues, when in reality, it was just super throttled. And also, some people did notice because they were getting less frames on the games. And that's one thing a lot of people like to get the S-Series phones for. They're very powerful, very good at playing stuff, especially with the 120 hertz refresh rate, Quad HD Plus on the S22 Ultra. You can play games at the top-notch, highest level possible. So I think that they deserve all of this that they're getting, and maybe this will be a lesson to other manufacturers saying, don't mess with our phones. Don't change stuff and make it to where our phone will run a certain way, especially when you advertise it. Okay, when you say this is the most powerful Android smartphone in the world, this crazy awesome chip, all this power, all these benchmarks, all these things you brag about, and then you come back and you throttle it so much to where it's running as low as half as powerful as it can be, throttled up to 50% for some games. So they went ahead and updated it and gave us a patch very quickly to kind of cut that out. And the thing is, though, it still cuts in. Before, it would do it as soon as you turn the game on. Now it just waits, I believe, 5 minutes. So then it still cuts in. So it's still something that's going to impact our performance. It's still not an ideal situation, but to my knowledge, I believe that's what it did. It just basically, instead of instantly throttling it, moved it back to 5 minutes. So I don't know. I would like to have complete and full control over this. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Maybe you can completely turn it off. But I thought I don't know. I need to do some more research so I can speak on that more accurately. But I know it's still not 100%. And yeah, the big ultimate thing here is it caused the damage. The damage has been done. Whether you walk it back, whether you change it, whether you go through, and I know there's been a lot of people in the comments, there's been a lot of people I've talked to who are like, I don't care, whatever, this is a good thing, right? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but the thing is you should have control over the phone experience. Why are they going to give you a V8 in a car, but then it will never drive over like 60 miles per hour? So you can go 0 to 60 real quick, but then you're stuck at 60. You can't go any higher. I don't want that kind of control on my phone. I want to be able to control that experience myself. I think I know better. If the phone's getting too hot, if my games are slowing down, if I need to adjust some stuff, make it very easy. Even put an app on the home screen, right? Do some training when the phone starts up. Say, hey, these are ways you can get better battery life. These are ways you can get better performance. Don't outright make the decision for me and then control how the phone experience is, and then also kind of try to sidestep the benchmark so people don't understand what you're doing, and then you get your phone banned from them. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it can recover towards the second half of the year. But right now, it doesn't look that great. And of course, I did talk about this, and I predicted this would happen. Not the game optimization service, but the sharp decline after the initial sales. So we'll see what happens. But are you mad about it? Is this something that made you upset before they went and tried to fix it? Is it something you cared about in the first place? Or you're like, hey, this is no big deal as long as I get better battery? But it's also funny because I've made videos talking about how to get better battery life and how to turn off some features to extend the battery life of your phone or change your experience. And then people are like, no, dude, why would you turn that stuff down? Because then you're not getting the full power of the phone. That's what this thing is that they did. So, yeah, you can't have a problem with one and not have a problem with the other. They're very much in the same boat floating out to sea. So, anyway, that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please head down to the comments section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.